Yo, yo, yo. What up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? What's going on, guys? I wanted to pop on here real quick and talk to you today about something that is a little bit controversial. Is it better to have a voice, or is it better to be silent? That's what I want to talk about on today's Facebook Live. Let's see who we got tuning in. We have, if you're just tuning in, guys, if you can just chime in, tell me, where are you tuning in from? What area of the world are you tuning in from? And what time is it in the area that you're tuning in from? So we have Mark Presswood, come on down. California is tuning in live at the dinner table. Whoa. I've got Skip the Dishes coming right now, so that's a good thing. They're on their way, about 15 minutes away. Angeline live from New York. What's going on, lovely lady? Okay, what do we got? Oh, happy birthday, Mark Presswood. Congratulations. 1 year younger. Good job. We've got Kenneth Casimir. It's been a while. Glad to be back watching Darren live. Good to see you, Kenneth. How are you, sir? Last I saw, Kenneth, you were cranking out some great numbers and some high ticket. And I don't know if I had a chance to say congratulations. Super proud of you, brother. Super proud of you. That's great to see. I think you went through Dan Locke's training. He's got some really good, solid training. So congratulations on that. Chris Garcia, I couldn't shut up if I tried. Okay, that's good to know. We've got Pierre live tuning in. Hey, Pierre. Hey, Darren. How are you? Ohio is live. Good to see you on tonight's broadcast. I'm up late, says Angeline. What time would it be there? I guess it's 11 o'clock for you, Angeline. Chris is near Sacramento at 8 o'clock Pacific p.m. No, 8 o'clock p.m. Yeah, California is Pacific. James Mike Brown, how are you? Great to see you back, my friend. California, 8:06. We've got Chrissy tuning in from Minnesota at 10 p.m. Jeff Niquette from Massachusetts. Great to see you here. 3 p.m. over in New Zealand. How's that New Zealand venture going for you there, James? You've been there for a couple months now. Chime in there and tell me how are you enjoying New Zealand? Good to see you there. Good to see you. Okay, we've got Ron Mayberry. Great Friday to you and yours, Darren. Checking from Newcastle, Delaware. Awesome. Great to see you, Ron. Stephen is back. Hello, brother. How are you? Virginia, 11:06 p.m. Awesome. Kenneth, you're very welcome, sir. Super proud of you, pal. Great to see. Seriously, great to see. Ashley is in the house tonight. How are you? Great to see you. Happy Friday, says Chrissy. Miriam says hello. 11 p.m. late Friday night. And Saskatchewan, Canada is tuning in the house. Guys, you know, this is a little bit of a controversial topic. And, you know, like, as you're on this path of personal development, as you're on this path of leadership, of, you know, going to the next level, you know, typically when people think of getting to freedom, they think of being able to sort of travel around the world, go wherever they want, whenever they want, stay however long that they want, and still be able to have cash flow coming into them within their lifestyle, so that they don't have to ever worry about, you know, paying their bills, basically, right? Is what it comes down to. And a lot of people don't understand this thing about what is actually financial freedom. What is financial freedom? And, you know, T. Harv Eker sort of makes a good sort of analysis or summary of it. If you've never heard of T. Harv Eker, he wrote a book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and highly recommend that, by the way. Harv is a great speaker, trainer. We met up with him in Maui when I was there. My sister actually is Harv's personal assistant, and we went up to his house and spent some quality time. We all went out for dinner and whatnot. But his concept of financial freedom really puts sort of, it expands your mind to really understand the stepping stone of what it takes to go vertical. Okay. Financial freedom is when the amount of money that you have coming in every month is greater than all of your bills. Okay. So in other words, let's say that your burn rate, I call it your burn rate, your monthly expense rate for you every single month between your mortgage, your car, your insurance, your gas, your food, the kids schools, clothes, all the stuff that you have. If the amount of money that you have coming in is higher than your monthly expenses, you've achieved financial freedom. And then that's the first leapfrog stepping stone to go vertical to the next level, right? So that's obviously people's dream. And when it comes to marketing, or it comes to leadership, or it comes to mentoring, coaching, training other people, the having a voice, in my opinion, is that step. It's that stepping stone. It's getting over the mental blocker that we all have. We all have this, guys, as human beings. We all have this, is about worrying about what other people think, worrying about looking stupid, worrying about, being ridiculed or outcast or shunned in some way from our peers. And it actually holds us back from really truly going for our dream. And truly the core of it is the fear of being rejected. Okay, the fear of being rejected. That is the blocker between the person that's over here and their dream on the other side over here. The blocker between that, the barrier between it, is their fear of rejection. Okay, it's the biggest fear of all, truth be known, is the fear of rejection. And it's what holds people back to reach out to people, or reach out to top leaders, or build relationships with people that they may not have ever met before. And once you can overcome that, that's when you can truly have personal power, because you're no longer worried about what other people think. Okay. Now, I want to be able to give you a little bit of analysis here, because a lot of people, they suffer from this thing called perfectionism. Okay. So the perfectionism actually blocks them from ever going forward as marketers. And what they don't understand is that marketing itself is about testing and tweaking and making errors and mistakes, and then collecting the data, and then honing in on the whether it's an ad campaign or copywriting or whatever. And it's the data that comes back that's going to tell you whether or not your campaign's working. And that's part, it's almost like you're constantly failing in order to succeed. Okay. And the difference between the people that really make it big and the people that never get to their breakthrough is that the people that just go for it and then they jump, they literally free fall. Those are the people that end up going big in whatever business. It doesn't matter if it's in the MLM industry, direct sales, whether it's real estate, mortgage broker, insurance, automotive, retail, it doesn't matter, guys. Okay. The people that go to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, and beyond are the ones that are prepared to just, they just don't care anymore. So in other words, their dream is so big that they don't care if people laugh. So what I say to people is, first of all, this is what one of my millionaire mentors, Dr. Dov Baron, he shared this with me when I was going through mentorship with him, and he said, Darren, you want to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, and when you're in a situation where you have the queasy feeling in your stomach, or you feel anxious, or you have that fear of rejection, you want to jump. You want to go for it head on. And that's where the breakthrough happens. That is where the breakthrough happens, guys. Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing about this topic is that in the event that a person is so concerned about what other people think, like, there's people that are still getting ready to get 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 ready, and they're always going to be in a blocker. You'll never get to your breakthrough in the event that you're scared to jump. Okay. And in the event that you're scared of what other people are going to think or say. Okay. And you have to kind of like embrace this process in the event that you're ever going to be a successful entrepreneur. Every leader that you're ever watching right now, okay, every leader, every 7-figure income earner, every multiple 7-figure income earner, every 8-figure income earner that you look up to, that you watch on Facebook Lives, or you tune into their webinars, or you gather on Zoom broadcasts with them, don't think that they did not have to go through the same process that you go through yourself to face their fears. And did they get butterflies in their stomach? Absolutely they did. Absolutely they did. But they did it anyway. They jumped. They jumped, and they were okay with it. Okay. I always tell people to be okay with failing forward as fast as possible. That should be your goal if you ever want to get to the next level, is to be okay with the failing process, because that's part of marketing. Okay. Now, here's where it starts to, like it's in the controversial zone. And I want to ask you guys on what your thoughts are on this, okay? Because when I first got into this industry over 3 decades ago, my millionaire mentors were very they were really stern on this one concept, okay? Very stern on this one concept. They always said to me, Darren, it's not about your income in this industry. It's about how many people on your team can you lift up to rise to give wings. That is our industry, okay? It's not about this, okay? It's about this. It's about giving people wings to fly versus, showing your checks, okay? And so my question to you is that when you are in a situation, specifically in our particular industry, where there's a lot of, scams, Ponzi schemes, companies where flat out they're ripping people off, do you stay silent? This is the question now. Do you stay silent, or do you speak up? Okay, do you speak up? Okay. Now, some people in leadership will say, hey, whatever people want to do, they were going to do, right? So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to carry about my own business, and I'm not going to say a word. Okay. So they take the road of the silence versus the road of standing up for the people. Okay. Some people say, it's all about the people. We're in an industry about the people, so we got to protect the people and warn the people in the event that there's something where they're going to be blatantly ripped off. Okay. And I want to get some feedback from you guys. I want to get some feedback on this, because I can tell you that like when Digital Altitude was just blatantly ripping people off, okay, for $57,000, and then getting them in to buy traffic. I had so many phone calls from people, from innocent families that had a dream, and they bought into a concept that all they needed was this thing and spend money on the traffic and wave this magic wand, and the money's going to start raining from the sky. And they lost everything, guys. Okay, I'm talking everything. Their credit cards, their savings accounts. Some people took out second mortgages against their homes. And I was getting so many incoming calls from people that were $140,000 in the hole on the verge of bankruptcy, while some of the people were doing this and laughing all the way to the bank, when I was getting all of these calls from people that were completely broken, destitute, and their dreams were completely shattered. Okay. And I'm interested to find out from you as to, like, what are your thoughts on this? I'm going to tell you what I did. Okay. I'm not going to say that's a right way or a wrong way. And I know that because of what I did, that there's a lot of people in the industry that, quite frankly, are pissed off and not, you know, they don't like me over it, over the actions that I took that to protect the people. But I want to hear from you guys as to what your thoughts are. Darius, how are you, sir? Great to see you here. Thanks for tuning in. New Zealand is on lockdown for a month now, actually. You know, we're not totally on lockdown here. We're in kind of semi-lockdown. Like, the restaurants are closed, but it's pretty much, you know, business. There's people walking around and driving around and whatnot. And I think there's 800 cases. Just hold on a sec. That's my skip the dishes. We're interrupting this broadcast. Let me just grab my steak dinner here. Sorry, guys. I'm just going into a slight interruption. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay. The best thing that you can ever imagine is this thing called Skip the Dishes, right? And they literally, they deliver. I might as well just move in here now that we're downstairs and go into the bat cave. Okay, so, you know, this is a very interesting topic, guys. Very, very interesting topic, because, you know, it can go either way. It can go either way. It can go either way, but I want to find out from you guys what your thoughts are on this situation. Anita, how are you? Great to see you here tonight. We've got Jennifer is in the house. How are you? We have Pam Phillips tuning in. Great to see you here. Anita says truth. Shout out to all the millionaire mentors in the making, working with millionaire mentor Darren Little. Appreciate that, Mark Presswood. Edgar says true story. Man, I've been rejected so many times. I don't just give a shit anymore. Okay, cool. That's good. What other people think of us is none of our business. Nice to see you, Darren, says a Facebook user. I'm not too sure who that is. Ashley says 100% true. Edgar, that used to be me for real. You know what, Edgar, you got some really great natural skills on video, and hopefully, you know, you will begin to hear it from me, right? I've told you this many times. You're a natural on video. And, you know, the moment that you went into compressed action, what ended up happening? You ended up having $1,000 day. And if you just keep on the process, you know, freedom's not that far away for you, Edgar. Trust me on this. You're very, very close. So true about rejection, Darren. Every great leader like yourself was once a beginner. A master was once a disaster. You know, guys, when I first got started, I used to pace around the basement. You know, my parents typically go away for 6 months of the year, so I do some house sitting. I'm just going to turn the light on here. And I used to do my videos in their basement, and I used to pace around the house, you know, doing my videos. And like one after another, video after video, right? Looking back on it, it's like insane, but it got me over the jump, right? And at some point in time, you're going to get to the point where you just don't care anymore, and you're prepared to go for your dream like it's your last breath of oxygen. You just stop caring anymore. You just don't care. Because here's the thing that I want to point out to you. Do you realize that even if you were Mother Teresa, that some people are going to love you and some people are going to hate you? Okay. You could be the president of the United States, which quite frankly is a perfect example of this. Imagine being Donald Trump right now and the amount of hatred that is directed at him, not only from people, but from the media, that, attacks him and his family, even his son, right, who's like 14 years old or something. It's sick. So, like, you could be Jesus. And some people, people put Jesus on a cross and crucified him. They hated him that much. So there's really no winning in it. You just have to realize that the moment that you just stop caring is the moment that you're going to get to your breakthrough. That's when things start to happen with your business, is when you just stop caring about it. Waiting for the perfect time. There isn't one. Time can't be taken back. You're correct. Failing forward ASAP. I have failed forward many times. That's what the successful people do. And that's the thing to really understand about this thing, guys. It's failing forward as fast as possible. Failing forward as fast as possible. Okay, this thing just jumped here. Okay, fail forward as fast as possible, says the username. Good evening, Sonia. How are you? Good to see you here. What other people think is none of our business. You're correct. DA got me, says Darius. If it was like 1 call, 2 calls, 6 calls, 10 calls, guys, I had dozens of phone calls from people that had lost everything. 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, 120,000, 140,000. People that were milked of everything, their entire life savings, okay, and their entire life savings that they had ripped off from them in that particular company. So when I first began my journey, I joined Digital Altitude and was ripped off, shaking my head. I lost lots of money a few years ago because of paid traffic. If you don't learn the basics, if you don't understand the business model, okay, if you don't understand the difference between what networking is versus what the corporate America business model is, you don't have the foundation in place right out of the gate. Okay, so to go spend money to generate leads when you don't understand what to even do with the leads, to me, that's burning through money. So before you end up going down the paid path, you have to have the foundational principles in place first, so that you know what to do with the leads that you're spending money on. Otherwise, you'll just flambe your entire life savings account. And a lot of people are in that situation. Chris Napa, Matthew Britt says voice. I agree. Chris Napa says I would help them. Angeline says have a voice. A true leader will say, hey, you're tarnishing the industry. It's a total dark way of doing business, ruining people's killing life savings. That's a terrible way of doing business, Darren Rand adds to help the people. Kenneth says, I personally would speak up if I knew about any Ponzi schemes. Chris, little cheers for the dinner. Paid traffic is not recommended for newbies. I agree with that. Sheila, how are you? Great to see you here. We're not on total lockdown in upstate New York. Oh, that's good. I hear you guys are getting back into action here soon. I knew it was coming soon. Love New Zealand. Good stuff. Hi, Darren Little. So glad I can jump in and listen today. Awesome. Don't know who that is, but enjoy your steak. Thank you. If you know for 100% certainty that the person and or biz opportunity is a scam, then I believe you're professionally, ethically, and morally required to let the marketplace know. If you don't, your silence is consent. That is a very good point, Ron. That is a very good point. I had been pitched to do direct mailing, and it happened to me 3 times from someone. I said, no, I won't, and said I'd be real careful. I did not have a good feeling about it. I had to let her know what I felt. Awesome. I hope that makes sense. Yes, it does. Oops, typo. Okay. Edgar says, absolutely. Edgar's doing great. Yes, he is. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. You're welcome. I will speak up. Scammers and fakers should never be supported by any means. Chris says, yes, I'm going for the dream. Awesome. Ron says, congratulations on your success, Edgar. Keep rising and shining. Do we let the haters hate on us publicly on our posts and let it build post algorithm? or should we block them all and not waste our time? That is a very good question, James, and it's totally up to you on how it makes you feel. How does the energy, right, make you feel on your wall? Because I believe in quantum physics. I believe that everything is energy, and like, here's an example. Like, Ari and I get into these situations, like, when it comes to politics. So when I post something, if he comes on my wall and starts this bashing back and forth, I typically will just delete that whole portion of the thread, because it just goes off the deep end. Okay. In the event that I go over to Ari's wall and I post the comment, and then he comes back with his stuff, and then it goes back, I just delete my whole thread. And, okay, I'm out, right? I'm out, because the energy force is draining. So you got to ask yourself, is the energy positive? Can you have a proper debate about something without it becoming a personal attack on you? This is the question that you've got to ask. Is it a personal attack? Because sometimes, like, the two topics that create a ridiculous amount of polar controversy are politics and religion. Okay, they're like, that's like kind of a rule. If you go to a lounge or to a bar, those are two off limits. Like, you can't talk about politics and you can't talk about religion, because people actually go to war. People go to war, guys. Remember this, over those two topics. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's see, where did we leave off here? Okay, we got that one. Let's see, what do we got? Okay, here we go. They even hated on Jesus. You're correct. Food delivery, absolutely. Skip the dishes, right? I will be the first person to admit. 20 minutes, guys, literally. This is from Earl's, right? I love Earl's, right? Earl's. I'm trying to support my local community. This is from Earl's. And they make a very good sirloin steak. And it's Friday night. I felt like a steak, so that's what's happening here. But I wanted to come on here, talk about this one concept real quick, and then I'm going to go eat. Hire a millionaire mentor like Darren. Appreciate that, Mark. Blake Smith, how are you, sir? Good to see you here. Sheila, happy to see you too. Just talked to someone tonight who got screwed over a Ponzi scheme, almost lost him, was able to help him. That's great. Good stuff. If it feels like bad energy, I delete it. That's what I do. I say to them, welcome to the block party. Bye, Felicia. Also asking a woman her age. Well, that can create controversy. That's nice. I'm ordering takeout tomorrow night for dinner. Cool. Steak at Earl's is great. So here's the thing, guys. So I had so many phone calls. Like, I'm talking about dozens and dozens of phone calls from people that had lost everything when this situation came out. And, when I look back on it now, I don't think I would have done anything differently. Like, I did it to protect these innocent families that were being blatantly ripped off. Okay. Now, as a result of that, right, there's people that are in the industry that's just what they do. They go from one deal to the next deal to the next deal. They don't care about the carnage that's left behind with all these innocent families that lose everything, right? And it's very sad. It's very sad. But I ran a campaign. It actually ended up getting my Facebook ad account shut down, but I personally spent $3,000 out of my own pocket to try to protect the people, because the phone calls were going off the hook. And I just could not take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore to see how many people were being blatantly ripped off, right? So my question is, what would you do? What would you do? Like, would you do what I did, right? So in that particular case, so there's two situations of, is it better to have a voice or to be silent? Now, as far as leadership goes, as far as taking your brand to the next level, you have to have a voice. That when I first got into this industry, the first person that I saw on stage that was making big money was like $65,000 a month in residual income. This is 30 some odd years ago. And he said to me, Darren, the person with the message is the person that makes the money. And he said that, it seems like such a, like a simple concept, that it's so simple that most people don't get the concept. The journey is to the stage to be the person with the message. And when he said that, after watching his presentation, it was like, an aha moment, the light bulb went on, and it was like, whoa, this is what people don't get. The journey's to the stage. The journey is to be able to be the presenter, so that instead of talking to people one by one by one by one, you gather 50 people, you gather 100 people, you gather 1,000 people, 2,000, 10,000 people, and you're the deliverer of the message. That's when you start to propel over to seven figures, multiple seven figures, and 8 figures. Now, when you think about it, isn't an ad campaign kind of the same in a way? It's like you're the person on the stage and you're the person with the message, and your audience, you're scaling up your audience larger and larger and larger so that you get more eyeballs on your message. So in other words, an ad campaign is kind of like the same type of concept of being the person on the stage, being the person with the message. Okay. So, but I had this sort of flashback to this time, because I was going through some pictures, and I actually came across some pictures of the campaign itself, right, that I had rolled out at that time. And I thought, would I do anything differently? Would I, not do what I did and not try to save the people? And the answer is no. I believe that I would still do that, because of the, I had people that called me, guys, that were like literally crying because they had lost their entire life savings, and they had maxed out all their credit cards, and they were on the verge of declaring bankruptcy. And it's painful to see that happen. And the sad thing about it is, some of the people that were doing it to those people were people that I used to look up to on the stage, that at some point in time something flipped in their own whatever, their own karma, their own whatever you want to call it, where they just were money driven, and all they wanted to do was pad their bank account more and more and more. In fact, here's the bizarre thing. Ari and I actually had phone calls from some 8-figure income earners that we know, that right on the very end of OneCoin, okay, and everybody knows that OneCoin was like this gigantic Ponzi scheme, right? And this particular guy, I'm not going to mention his name, he said, are you guys marketing OneCoin? And we said, OneCoin's a Ponzi scheme. And these were his words he said to us. He said, who cares? It's converting. Whoa, guys. Who cares? It's converting. Okay. That is like a mental illness, in my opinion. That's ridiculous. Okay, so we're going to wrap up here real quick. I just want to get a little bit of feedback here from the people. What do we got here? You can only do so much. It's awesome that you want to help others, but you cannot protect the world. You are correct. You are correct. Atlanta's in the house. Awesome. How did that campaign affect you business-wise? Well, there were a lot of people that actually phoned and thanked me. There were a lot of people that phoned and thanked me because they were on the verge of putting in their money themselves. So they never put their money in because of the campaign. So it alerted them enough to go like, whoa, I'm not going to go there. But the interesting thing was that when that company ended up getting shut down, and there was a big ordeal around, I don't even know what happened to the owner. I know that he had to give back millions and fines and all sorts of things. I don't think he actually ended up doing jail time, but there was, I think some of the top people had clawbacks. I'm not 100% sure on that, but my point being is that, I would say, to answer that, who was that, Sheila? I would say that, it probably negatively affected me from some of the people that are, some of the upper people in the industry that don't care, right? I know that they just move on to another money grab or another Ponzi, and they don't care who they hurt. But from my integrity and for what I stand for, I believe I did the right thing. And maybe in the event that I hadn't got dozens and dozens and dozens of phone calls from so many families and people, completely broken, destitute, then maybe I, wouldn't have done anything, because I wouldn't really have known of all the pain that was being created and all the suffering that was going on. But I felt like I had to stand in my truth, and I had to stand up for the people. Now, do I do that as much now on all these other, Ponzi schemes that are going on? Not like I used to, because one of the things that Ari said to me this one day is he goes, you know what, bro, even though we know it's true, even though we know that in 6 months or 10 months that everybody's going to lose all their money, even if we tell everybody, they're still going to do it anyway. So they're going to do it knowing that it's going to implode, and they're going to do it anyway. So what's the point of it? Right. So, but it's kind of like a happy balance, in my opinion, of at what point do you hit your breaking point where you speak out? Like, what has to happen for you to finally, reach a boom, and I can't take this anymore, right? For me, it was how many incoming phone calls I had and how many stories I was, because when people, reach out to you and they're in that state, and what's going on, it becomes more and more and more and more and more aware of what's going on, you kind of start to take it personally, right? You kind of start to take it personally. Chrissy says money grabbers. It's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. Darius says they showed their true colors. You must be truly enjoying your rooftop deck. Bit of a sanity deck, I would say. Once all this is over, it's time to catch up on some cocktails. Vic, hey Vic, how are you? Good to see you. You've always been someone that is always there to help theirs. It would have been more surprising if you didn't say something. You're probably correct on that. Probably correct. When they tell you to slam traffic to your link and keep doing, and you don't feel right about it, then run. You can go down the rabbit hole real quick. You're correct. You certainly can. Taking that call just might save them from taking their own life. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to get some feedback on, I was kind of, when I saw those pictures come up, it kind of weighed a little bit heavy on my heart, quite frankly, because, for me to actually pull $3,000 out of my pocket and run a campaign to protect the people, you got to know that it really pushed my buttons hard for me to do that, right? But I can tell you that, looking back on it, I don't regret it. I don't regret doing it. I feel like if I could even have saved one family from losing another 100,000, that it was worth my 3 that I spent to try to save those people. Because here's the thing that those people don't understand. Like when they're firing off these loan applications for business loans, and then they celebrate it. So, hey, look, such and such got approved for this $30,000 loan. And they're now touting that on their wall, on their Facebook wall. But that person has to pay back that loan, right? And going down that path of loading up on high ticket and driving traffic without foundational skills in place is kind of similar to trying to build a house on toothpicks with no foundation. If you don't have a proper foundation in place, the house is going to crumble. The house is going to crumble, guys, right? It's going to crumble. Anyway, so in closing, Chrissy says, value, appreciate that. Enjoy the steak, says Sheila. That's love for your industry. Thank you, Darren Little, for your transparency and value for the people and your passion. I appreciate that. And who's this? You're right. Okay. So I think that is it. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for joining me here. This wasn't anything more than just to share my voice, share what I was thinking tonight. I don't know if it was valuable for you at all, but in the event that you can read the sentence and look at the 2 areas of what I was talking about on the front end, on facing your fear and not caring about what other people think or say, because even Jesus had people that hated him. I mean, heck, it can't go up any higher than the ladder than God, but there's people that hate God too. Think about that. So if that's your reference point, then realize you need to have a voice. Okay. On the other side, it really comes down to your personal ethics and reaching your breaking point on whether or not you're going to speak up and stand up for the people. The challenge with it is that even when you do, that a lot of people are going to do it anyway, even when they know the thing's going to implode. So hopefully got some value from this. Edgar, thank you. I appreciate that. Chris, thank you. I appreciate that. And Chrissy, awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Guys, you got Darren Little here from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I'm coming to you live in the Bat Cave. Gonna go have my steak and have a great night. Happy Friday to you. All the best.